What is up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Matco Tool Supra.
Comes back, he's gonna send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're gonna Sean Banks is gonna win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of M&J Distributors for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to B-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, you know, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, you know, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, you know, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Welcome to the World Center of Racing here tonight from Daytona International Speedway for the opening race of the Saturday Night Racing League, a Challenger Series, live tonight on V-Speed. 60 laps here. It's 150 miles. We've got 3 tire sets available. Not going to be too much of an issue for most of these drivers, but if you have enough accidents, you might wear the tires out. We got 2 green light checkered attempts, 80% fuel loads. This is the opening race of the series, just 10 races. Here we go, kicking things off for the Challenger Series for Saturday Night Racing League. Green flags in the air, we're off and away. And we got cars spinning, huge pile.
Logan Threlkeld with the advantage. Here goes Matthew Radford, going to jump to the outside. It's going to be a drag race, and Radford's going to win it.
Wow, what a finish. Man, Radford just timed that perfectly.
He's going to come into 3 and 4 with about a half a second lead. Out of turn 4 for the final time. Across the line, it's Brian Chambliss with his first win of the season. And Jordan Trask, can they battle it out? They're going to get side by side. They're actually running it down here. What will Philip Brewer do? Will he try to get to the outside again? Not quite able to do it. Bryce clears him, but there goes Philip Brewer. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker is going to have no pressure from behind. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop. 1/1000th of a second across that line. Chuck Sweeney led that lap by. The white flag is out. Final time around for the Challenger Series at Michigan. The 2-mile speedway. If you're Dakota Boy here, what do you do right? Look at the block down the backstretch. You have to send it in hard here on the bottom, but Toronto's got the preferred line. And they're 3-4 wide back here in the 10th position. But off in turn 4 for the final time, side by side. A door check, 3 wide for the lead. Barada is going to get the win at Michigan.
He's loose down there, though. He really sent it in there on the bottom here. Caleb trying to complete the pass here to grab that lead back.
A little bit of a slide job. Here comes Chuck Sweeting on his way by. Caleb Wheatley, after dominating here at Bristol, is going to take the win.
We'll see them both taking the high line, and he's in the back bumper of the 9.
Oh, man, I think he's going to hang on, though.
Chambliss able to hold on to it, keeps the momentum. The 44 does not have enough as Brian Chambliss takes home race number 10. Dakota Floyd finishing in the 6th position as our championship winner here tonight.
You're watching the Saturday Night Racing Challenger Series, only on V-Speed.
Good Saturday night, everybody, and welcome to week number 9 of the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series. And that brings us out here to Dover. Miles the Monster. He is hungry, but will anybody feed him tonight? It's only a matter of time before we find out. Welcome inside the V-Speed booth once again. I'm your host and producer for the night, Logan Threlkeld. Alongside me, as always, Jeff Wright. And you're watching V-Speed here live on YouTube. And what a better place to be right now, Jeff. You know, this race, it's either marked on the calendar for being one of the most hated tracks among the drivers or one of the most liked. There's really no in-between here with Dover. Would you care to tell us why, Jeff Wright?
Well, first off, yeah, you're absolutely right. This track is a very polarizing track. Some drivers been dreading coming to Dover this season. Some drivers just can't wait to get here. And, you know, personally for myself, Logan, this has been a place that's been difficult for me. This place chews up tires. Getting on and off pit lane can be a challenge, which I have a lot of experience on. Hit the barrels a couple of times, as we see here in the shot. So drivers are going to have to watch out for that. But yeah, you're right. This is a very polarizing racetrack, and it's going to be interesting to see, you know, which drivers kind of rise towards the top. The running order is going to change a lot over the course of a run here, and I just can't wait to get started tonight.
And strategy will be all over the place. Dover, Delaware is where we're located here for this 1-mile track, but a steep 24 degrees of banking in the corners, and most importantly, that 9 degrees of banking down the front and back stretch. That causes these accidents that will likely happen here tonight. There is self-clearing, so anytime you see something happen, although it might move up the track, it's going to come right back down in front of you to the bottom of the track, the way that it's banked all the way around. But this 4-corner D-oval is built in 1969, been around for quite a while. And like you said, polarizing is, putting it lightly. This track is well known all across the world. But Jeff, we're coming into our later part of the season here. Give us a quick rundown through our points.
Yeah, well, so far, we've kind of had two guys that have really stuck out in terms of being able to win races, and that's Dakota Floyd. And then you got to go ways down to Philip Brewer. He actually missed a couple of races, which is why he set back a little bit further. But, those two drivers have kind of been the guys setting the bar. Last week we saw Noah Mahalski break through and get his first win, so he's coming in here with a lot of confidence. You see he's up to fourth right there in the points, so we're getting closer down to getting ready for the playoffs. And so every single win that you can add to your name before then is huge. That's bonus points. So you're going to see drivers not only looking for a good spot here in the points, but ultimately you want to go win a race and get yourself a really good starting spot for the playoffs.
You most certainly do, and it looks like our qualifying and warm-up sessions have completed here. Quick rundown on what our race analysis looks like for tonight. 120 laps on the board. That 35-mile-an-hour pit speed limit, like you mentioned earlier, it's going to be tricky, but you're going to have to master it if you want to use up those 3 tire sets available before we have a chance to see those 2 green-white checkers. 80% fuel load, as always, in the iRacing fixed setup here for race number 9. Let's get right into our grid here, Jeff. What do you say?
Absolutely.
So starting out here on our pole, it's going to be that points leader, Dakota Floyd, taking up the number 1 spot on the night. He's going to be on the inside here, the 79 of Jordan Trask. Row 2 is going to consist of Caleb Weekly in the 13, and then that Team V-Speed car, the number 2 of Bradley Cooper on the outside of row 2. Justin Ritchie in the 55 will take up the 5th starting spot. Next to him will be Richard Holland right behind Bradley Cooper. Philip Brewer in the 44 will take up the inside row here for the 7th position. Justin Carey in the 21 to the outside. Last but not least, in our top 10, it's going to be Morgan Cook next to the 99 of Brandon Wallace.
Starting in the 11th position tonight, it's Jacob Locklear in the 84, alongside Max Cost in the 63. Matt Shinosky starts 13th tonight alongside another Matt and Matt Dominique. Austin Belkey will start 15th tonight alongside Rob Hamp. Chris Rude in the 17th starting position alongside Christopher Hodges, the highest finishing driver from last year's Cup Series at Dover. He rolls off 18th. Stephen Davis in 19th, and Judson Curtis, race winner from Daytona, rounds out the top 20.
And the rest of our field goes as follows. John Sanu takes up the 21st starting position in the 86. Project Voklovic in the 07 takes 22nd. Rob Denton in the 93 takes up the 23rd spot. Keith Shoemaker in the 88 and 24th. Ben Laughter, the 64, takes 25th here tonight. Last week's winner, Noah Mahalski in the 03, will start way back in the pack here in 26th. Jeremy Reed in the 94 in 27th. And last but not least, Greg Spiker in the 10 for the 28th position. 28 drivers will enter. How many will leave here tonight? We got 120 laps to figure it out, Jeff, but the racing isn't quite started. We are finally out on the track, so let's get a live shot here from our Goodyear blimp hovering up above as our drivers are entering turn number 3 down on the track.
Yeah, and one thing we got to point out as well, this is a new Dover to a lot of these drivers. So it's the same Dover in the sense that there's no rescan, but the artwork here has changed a lot. So it visually looks a lot different to these drivers. I've had the opportunity to be on this racetrack, and I'll tell you what, this place looks phenomenal as far as graphics go. But I'm convinced this place does drive a lot different than it used to. So I think you're going to see guys be able to utilize the top and really diamond these corners. Previous Dover, it seemed like sticking towards the bottom and kind of moving a lane up off the bottom, then coming back down. But I'll tell you what, I think we're going to see guys entering close to up near the wall and being up there mid-corner before they drive it back down. So I think we're in for an entertaining night, to say the least, Logan.
Well, Jeff, we talked a little bit pre-race here. We typically end up trying to pick who we think might be the winner of tonight's competition, but I have a different type of poll that I'd like to take with you here. Who do you think will have the most positions gained by the end of this race?
Well, I think this one's going to be a no-brainer. Give me that 03 and Noah Mahalski starting deep in the field, defending winner from last week. So I feel like that's probably the easiest pick. So yeah, we'll go with Noah.
I think I'm going to go with that number 29 of Judson Curtis, starting back there in 20th. Mahalski back in 26. Both drivers have a lot of room that they can maneuver through here, but the pace car is off. Arnie, the flag man, with the green flag in hand. Dakota Floyd on the inside. Jordan Trask on the outside. Green flag is waving, and we are all set to go. Big wiggle from that second row. Caleb Weekly got extremely loose right as that green flag dropped, and a potential black flag here for the 55 on that restart. Dakota Floyd gets a massive jump straight out of the gates.
Yeah, he certainly does, and race control will go ahead and get that sorted out, get the black flags cleared. Caleb Weekly just really slippery, and that's easy to do on the initial start here, especially tires are not up to temp. So I think that's probably not the last time we're going to see that tonight from somebody kind of up here towards the front. Dover's interesting. Sometimes you want to start in a lower gear. A lot of guys will try to start in first gear to really get a launch, but it can be really difficult to get the power down, and that's possibly what maybe happened there with Caleb. He's going to fall back to 8th.
Good recovery nonetheless. He didn't get sideways in front of 24 other race cars, so that's a big positive there. Nearly a 3 wide look back here. 15 to Christopher Hodges, looking to make an inside move. That's Rob Hamp on the outside, now right behind the 15. A little bit of contact behind for Chris Rudin, the 32. Hodges doing a good job of keeping it down here on the bottom line early to start out this race. Now, Jeff, with your recent experience here at Dover, one thing that I noticed doing the coverage of that race, there was a lot of rubber being put down once you got 40, 50 laps into the run on that preferred racing line. How much did that affect these Xfinity cars whenever you were driving them last Tuesday?
Well, it affected them a lot, and it really tightened up the race car. And, we always talk about the Xfinity car being tight to begin with. Is Jordan Trask going to try to go ahead and make a pass here for the lead on Dakota Floyd? He will complete the pass. Jordan Trask up to the top spot here in the early goings at Dover. But, yeah, the lines are going to move a lot, and it's because of the rubber being laid down. The heat in the track is going to change. So you see these guys, about a lane off the bottom, half a lane off the bottom center corner before they bring it back down. I still think we're going to see guys all over this racetrack, especially on entry as we get deeper into the night. It was made for an interesting experience. We don't see that a lot on iRacing, so we'll have to see if it happens again here tonight.
A quick check-in on our 2 picks for biggest mover. No, Mahalski's already up a couple spots. From 26th to 23rd, Judson Curtis up 1 spot from 20th to 19th in the early running, but still a lot of laps to click away. Up front here, it looks like, I believe the 18 might be having some connection issues. I see him blinking in and out on the timing and scoring. We'll keep an eye just ahead here. Brandon Wallace, he gets a good move on the 21 of Justin Carey, who is loose out of turn 2. Wallace will be back to the 12th position, down just a couple spots from where he started.
Caleb Weekly looking like that race car is still not handling all that great yet. He's still kind of trying to get his footing. We see him slipping and sliding a little bit out of the corners here as he's following the 51 here of Morgan Cook. And that's going to be a driver that, I think we're going to have to look out for tonight. I think that 51, we come to a concrete surface like this, high tire wear. I think that kind of suits his style. So I'm going to be watching Morgan Cook a lot tonight. But also, some guys that I think could compete for that biggest mover award. We showed him a little bit earlier. Christopher Hodges already up to 13th. I believe he started in the 18th position. That's another driver that we know can really take care of their stuff and be strong in a long run. Making only his 2nd start here in the SNR Challenger Series. Made his debut last week at his home racetrack in Kentucky. Was having a pretty good run. I think he got caught up in a few things.
Very slow up ahead. Sorry to cut you off there, but we were 3 wide. The 17, Richard Holland, he was slow out of turn number 4. Caused a little bit of a stack up. Everybody was able to get around it. And again, apologize for cutting you off like that, but I don't know how that didn't end in travesty.
Yeah, we're lucky that we were still green there, but we're not anymore. Caution is
out now. Looks like Chris Root involved, Rob Denton involved as well. Maybe Greg Spiker and Judson Curtis. Looks like he was no longer on the track. Let's take it back to the V-Speed instant replay, see what happened here. So I'm noticing Curtis being the one that's lost the most position here. I'm going to keep an eye on him as he's battling with the 32 of Rude. This is right around pack here, about 15th, 16th, 17th, right in there. Curtis gets around the 07 of Baklovic. Chris Rude hard into the wall out of turn 2, crosses the nose of Judson Curtis. That's what's happened here. I'm not sure how Rob Denton got involved, however.
It looked like he got clipped from behind. I think he was starting to check up for the accident in front of him, and I think somebody got into the back of him, kind of helped turn him around a little bit.
Oh, looks like the 64 there. Couldn't quite see what was happening in front. Greg Spiker puts the brakes on lockdown. Gets a little bit of a tag into the wall, but nothing doing there. However, the 64 being the assist there for Rob Denton. Ben Laughter, unfortunate to get into the back of the 93.
Yeah, and that's a decent amount of damage too, so Rob's going to have to spend a decent amount of time on pit lane to get that all repaired. But this is opens up the door for some strategy here with this early caution, so I still think it's going to be a 2-stop race from here, which it looks like. I believe pit road was already open, and I think most of these drivers have declined to come down, and yeah, that looks like that is the case. Unless we missed pit stops. I don't think we had stops.
No, we didn't have any stops yet. Nobody brought it down pit road. I have no data for 1st through 23rd. It looks like Keith Shoemaker, Stephen Davis, they brought it down pit road. Shoemaker looks like it was a fuel stop only. Davis potentially taking 4 tires. Then we've got our damage cards. Rob Denton, Chris Rude, Judson Curtis all in the pits. Chris Rude with a meatball flag. We heard that engine expire once he hit the inside wall. Judson Curtis not with a meatball, but it doesn't look like he's hanging out in the pits anymore. Rob Denton still hanging out, getting about a minute and a half so far damage repaired. And we're doubled back up now, coming down the back stretch. We'll see if Denton will get back out to make this restart here, or if he's just going to wait and hope for more cautions to get back up to the lead lap later in the race with a fully healed up car. That'll definitely put some strategy at play here. See the 2 of Bradley Cooper's falling back to the back half of the top 10 now as well.
I was just about to mention that if you think it was difficult to get the power down on the initial restart, well, now that you got a few laps on those tires, it's going to be even more treacherous here. So these guys are going to have to be really careful putting that power back down here and try not to slide and cause a big pileup.
It will be difficult indeed, but Jordan Trask gets a great jump off that bottom line here, leading that inside line into turn number 1 by about a car length. Bill Brewer hanging out there on the outside. Justin Ritchie in the 55 on the inside here. He'll have some decent momentum, see if he'll challenge into turn number 3. Not quite there enough. Brewer late on the brakes, goes way up the racetrack. 57 of Dakota Floyd, our pole setter on the night, working his way back to 3rd place. Morgan Cook, he'll look to take the inside line on the 44 Brewer.
And right now, it looks like Philip Brewer's just kind of looking for a spot to maybe slot back inside and get in line here. And looks like he's going to try to get the spot away here back from the 51, but that can be really tough thing to handle at Dover. Is if there's a line of cars lined up, behind you, you're just trying to get back in line, not lose any more spots. And now he does find himself a spot there right in front of Caleb Weekly. So they're starting to get sorted out a little bit towards the front, but back here, side by side, 18 Rob Hamp, Noah Mahalski, the driver we talked about, started deep in the field. He finds himself up to 16th here in the early goings, and so far I feel like that trend's looking pretty good. I might be in a good spot here, Logan, with Noah as my pick.
It definitely a solid pick to start the night out. Mahalski always seems to have the pace that you want in a driver, especially at the short tracks. So, just a unfortunate qualifying effort there for the 03, but he's working right through it as he's about to claim 2 now. The 18 of Rob Hamp stuck behind the 99 of Brandon Wallace, who's on the outside. Mahalski makes clear of the 99 with ease. Just up ahead here, you see the 17 of Richard Holland going for the inside of the 2 of Bradley Cooper. He gets by.
So Justin Ritchie just got that spot away. So they were battling side by side there for a few laps. So put Justin Ritchie up here to the front at Dover, and now you got the clean air. You're gonna try to back off a little bit and save some tires, because I'll tell you what, once you're in the clean air, it is easy to overpush the car here at Dover. But man, these tires just get absolutely destroyed here. And it's a hot racetrack out there tonight. It's a warm day here right about at the noon time. So the track temp probably only going to heat up. And yeah, 113 degrees on the track temp already. That's a hot and slick racetrack, especially if it's concrete.
That's a great contrast from about 6 races that we covered last year that were all foggy here at Dover. So to see some sunlight in Delaware as the caution flag comes out once more, that's going to be at the back of the pack, I believe. The 99 of Wallace involved this time. Let's take a ride on board with the 99 machine. Coming out of turn 4, I believe. Oh, right here on the front stretch. Had to be some assistance there.
Yeah, it looks like somebody just got right into his left rear quarter panel there. I don't know if it was 86 there, John Sanu, or what had happened, but looks like just a misjudgment.
Yeah, John Sanu just barely catches that left rear quarter panel. Sanu goes for a big spin as well, ends up hitting both the inside wall and the outside wall. It's not what you want to see there for the 86. Let's take a ride on board with him here. There's the big hit to the inside, backs it into the outside, so damaged quarter panels everywhere for John Sanu now.
And looks like pit lane's just about to get busy here. We got some split strategy. This is going to mix this race up a little bit. Some of the leaders staying out, some drivers coming in to get a set of tires and fill it up with fuel. I do think we're at the point in the race now with, just about 100 laps to go that I think it is possible to one-stop this race from this distance. It would be a stretch, though. So I think, that's with maybe a little bit of saving, maybe trying to catch a caution to make it, 50 laps a run. But I think it's doable here. And I do like the call that these guys are trying to be on the aggressive side here. Get some tires. And if this thing goes green from here, I mean, these guys are going to be absolutely flying around this racetrack relative to the guys that stayed out. So this should get a little bit interesting here on the restart.
It most certainly will. Gonna have a lot of cars back there. I'm counting, it looks like 10 cars. So nearly half the field has brought it down. We got some still in for some damage getting repaired. Wallace, Sanu, Spiker, all in pit road still. But Davis, Dakota Floyd, Morgan Cook, Philip Brewer, Richard Holland, Bradley Cooper, Jacob Locklear, Matt Shanowski, Brodzik Voklovic, Keith Shoemaker. All those drivers have brought it down. 14.5 seconds in the box, so that is a full fuel and 4 tire situation for just about half the field. We'll call it a third of the field.
Yeah, it mixes things up for sure. It's going to be entertaining to watch this, but I do know whenever you're one of those cars that do come down pit lane here and put tires on it, you're always just nervous because of, the differential of speed, through the center of the corners. You're doing your best to try to navigate traffic, quickly, but also do it cleanly and not accidentally get into the back of somebody here. So the guys that took tires here are going to have to test their patience a little bit. They're on the advantage. They just got to, buy their time, and they will cycle out to the lead. But, if you get yourself in a wreck, your night could be cut short.
On board now. Apologize, that is Justin Carey on the screen, not Justin Ritchie, our race leader at the moment. We'll hop on board with Carey momentarily, but let's see what it's like to restart on the front row here at Dover. Into the Geico restart zone, the green flag out. Carey able to step, or Ritchie able to step on the loud pedal and completely clears everybody around him.
Yeah, he is long gone. He is driving away right now from the rest of the field. You see Jordan Trask, Christopher Hodges. He is up a lot of spots so far tonight, cracked the top 3, and going to try to take away his second place position there from Jordan Trask. Caleb Weekly electing to use the high side here, try to diamond it down and get a big runoff. And This is what Justin Ritchie wants to see. He wants to see these guys side by side. That will kind of block the track for the drivers that did take tires and buy you some more time.
Now let's hop on board here with one of our driver cams, Justin Carey, the right Justin this time. He's hanging out just outside of the top 10 at the moment. That driver in front, Dakota Floyd in the 57, that's one of our drivers with fresh tires. We got a front row seat here as to what it's like with Morgan Cook working his way around the outside now, also on fresh tires.
Yeah, just look at the difference in speed that they can carry through the center of the corner. We're going to be three wide here
ahead
down the back, but I mean, if you're Dakota Floyd, you got to make those moves. You got to get through this traffic quickly, and if he feels like he can take advantage of that and push it 3 wide. He's the driver that's not really nervous in that situation. It's all the other drivers that are on the worst tires that are kind of holding their breath.
Just gotta hold out hope that you hold your line, they hold their line as best as possible. Boy, nobody gets collected. Looked like the 25 a little bit sideways there on entry of 3. Matt Dominique gets passed on the inside there by the 2 Bradley Cooper. Contact right behind. That is Jacob Locklear, Justin Carey, who we were just on board with. Justin Carey got sent to the wall nearly. Didn't make any contact, but certainly had to let out of the throttle, losing a couple spots. Back up towards the front now. Looks like Christopher Hodges is setting up to look for that number 2 spot on Jordan Trass. Justin Ritchie still out by a quarter of a second over second place.
We were just riding on board with Justin Ritchie as you showed that camera shot earlier, and just want to point out a few things. This guy might be the most consistent driver that we've ever seen in Saturday Night Racing League. If you throw out Daytona, he starts in the top 10 and he finishes in the top 10 every single race, and he's done that this season, which is crazy. I mean, that's avoiding accidents. That's just putting yourself in good position strategy-wise. So Justin Carey, and that's why he's sitting in a pretty good spot in the points. Hasn't had the win yet that he wants. But Justin keeps that up, keeps that consistency every single week. Eventually, he is going to get a win here.
Well, Jeff, I don't want to get your spirits too high right now, but do you see who's sitting in 3rd place?
Yeah, biggest mover alert right here, for sure. The 03 Noah Mahalski, which was my pick for the biggest mover. And he is one of those drivers that, actually, I think he is not on tires right now. He's just kind of buying his time on the strategy that a lot of these other drivers decided to do. I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think this 03's got new tires on it.
The 03 did not bring it down 4 tires. He jumped quite a bit of the field here to get this position by not coming down, but that 57 right behind, he is on fresh tires. So we'll see how quickly Dakota Floyd can make work of our top 3 that are still on a 32, coming to 33 laps on the starting tires. Christopher Hodges also has 16 positions just ahead of Mahalski.
Yeah, that's just a really impressive driving. It looks like Dakota Floyd going to try to go underneath Noah Mahalski here for another spot, but Hodges battling for the race lead here with Justin Ritchie. This is going to get a little tight on corner exit. They're going to get it sorted out. Now, where does Dakota Floyd go? Does he try to split them 3 wide here, or does he just sit here and try to let these guys sort it out? I bet you he's going to take a 3 wide bottom right here.
Looks like he's setting up to do exactly that. Oh my goodness, nearly 3 wide, not quite there. The 15 backs out of it just a touch, but here comes the 51 of Morgan Cook. Another fresh tire driver trying to follow Dakota Floyd across that bottom line. Bit of a wiggle now coming out of Christopher Hodges on the top line, exit to 2.
Yeah, just nothing that these guys with the tire deficit can really do there. I mean, it was just a matter of time until these guys cycled their way through to the front, but that's part of the strategy gamble, right? If we were to catch a caution right now, all the guys that stayed out would be saying that they had the correct call. If it came out right now, all the guys that took tires would be kicking themselves that they took their tires because they only got 2 sets the rest of the race here. So it's interesting to see the different strategies at play, and it all depends on when do you get that big green flag run, and whenever that may be, is you want to have tires for that. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of time.
Tires will certainly be key, and only having the 3 here tonight, it really forces your hand at making the right timing call. And as of right now, fresh tires have taken over the top 3, and most of our fresh tire drivers have made their way up to at least close to the top 10. A couple still hanging out just outside of the top 10, waiting to get in there. We'll see towards the end of this thing how it all plays out. Justin Carey's still battling with Rob Hamp here. It's for the 17th position. A little bit further ahead, Philip Brewer side by side with Noah Mahalski. Brewer on fresh tires. Mahalski, unfortunately, working his way back through the field just as fast as he got up here.
Yeah, but, if he catches the caution at the right time, he'll be, just fine with the way his strategy is going. One car that's lost a lot of time out of all this is Jordan Trask. He restarted on the front row there. I think he's all the way back to 14th now, so definitely the biggest loser, I think, right now as far as the guys that elected to stay out. He really dropped through the field quick. He's probably wanting a caution right now, to get some tires, get back on the offensive, because he was up front leading laps, restarted on that front row. That's the risk that you run, though. And, anytime that you decide to stay out, it always seems like that's the time you're going to get the long green flag run, right? Right when you don't need it to happen. So that's the way it feels, at least, whenever you decide to go pit. But still plenty of time in this race as we're just about a quarter of the way through, or a little over a quarter of the way through.
Philip Brewer looked like he was setting up to make that inside line out of the corner exit there, but ends up switching it back to the outside, gets around the 60 of Stephen Davis. Now looking to the inside here, the 55, Justin Ritchie, stuck on the outside. Brewer will have the advantage into turn number 3. Ritchie's going to back out of it just enough to let the 44 get by. Philip Brewer now up to a top 5 position. So our top 5 now all on fresh tires.
And I think we're going to have to keep our eyes here on this 44. He was one of the drivers that took the most time to get through the field. And I think that's by design. I think he kind of figured that those guys that had tires in front of him were really going to push their cars, try to get to the lead super fast. And if he just took his time, still drove easy, he's going to be really good on the long run. So I think we're going to have to watch out for this 44. It looks like he's not sliding at all. He's really taking care of his stuff. I bet you he's going to be a factor here in just a handful of laps.
The 99 of Brandon Wallace goes a lap down, second lap down for Brandon Wallace, but a very heavily damaged race car. We're going to keep an eye right here as he's now falling back through that 6th, 7th, 8th position here. See how these drivers navigate their first go at lap traffic.
Another driver that's up a lot of spots is Broderick Baglavic. He's started in the 22nd position. He finds himself in 12th, so he's getting ready to maybe crack in for the top 10 here. So a very good drive so far for him, and working on Noah Mahalski right now, trying to get around him. Not going to have the run this time, but so far so good here in the early goings, up 10 spots.
I think I'm saying that right when I say Vaclavic. I don't know. I haven't gotten the pleasure to talk to Broderick yet.
I'm sure I'm saying it wrong.
We've been hanging out here on the track for 9 weeks now, and I think I've said maybe 5 words to the guy. But it always seems to be up here around that top 10 position, battling somewhere. I know I've had some battles with him on track as well. Very clean driver in that 07.
Yeah, I know that when Bradley Cooper, when he's up here in the booth with me, we both really struggle with that pronunciation. So, yeah, maybe we just need to have a conversation with him, Logan. We'll get it sorted out. But he's working on the outside now of Noah Mahalski, trying to get the right rear quarter panel. Can't do it this time. He's going to fall back in line.
Back up here at the front, we've got some separation now as Richard Holland takes over the lead. You put nearly a second of distance between himself and second place Dakota Floyd, who is under fire from the 51 of Morgan Cook, V-Speed teammate right behind Bradley Cooper. We'll see if either one of those guys can make their way up there, get around the 57. And there's some distance off the back bumper of Cooper to Philip Brewer, but not much at all.
This 44, he is strong right now. I'm watching the lap times. He's been the fastest car on the racetrack here. So I think that strategy of kind of taking his time, working his way through the field is starting to pay off here. Now, it's one thing to catch them, Logan. We say that all the time, but it is another thing to pass them. And especially the leader, right? Because the leader's got the clean air. That's the hardest pass to complete. But if anybody can do it, I wouldn't be surprised if the 44 can do it.
No Dakota Floyd, too. He is also a tough one to pass. Knows how to make that car just as wide as the track surface itself. So you got a couple guys up there that are very good at defending their position when it's needed to be done. It's a tall ask for anybody to break their way into that top 3 right now with those drivers up there.
It seems like slowly but surely you're kind of starting to see the cars move up just a little bit more into the corners now. So that diamond is becoming bigger in the center of the corner. You still, on exit, you usually want to get down to the bottom of the racetrack, but look how high Christopher Hodges is running up here. That's something that you couldn't do in the previous Dover. And look at the run, too, he got. He's going to cross up Shanosky, or at least maybe look to the inside. But that's what's really cool about the update. I feel like this track is more multi-lane than it ever has been before, and it's really putting on a really good show.
Well, now is about that time here, Jeff, where you can see that rubber starting to form up on the bottom line. You can see a much darker groove there for about a lane and a half, where most of these cars have been running for the first 50 laps of this race, and sweeps out to the exit close to the wall there on the front and back stretch. But just, you can see the contrast from where we started this race, the color of the track to where it is now.
Yeah, and that's another really cool thing about, you know, the updates in iRacing is just being able to see that track darken and see where that rubber is laid. And, you know, with Dover being a concrete racetrack, you know, I feel like Bristol is another track that you can kind of see that. Some of the other tracks, it's a little bit harder to see, but, you know, with the light concrete here, it's just, it sticks out. So you can really see it from, you know, a spectator standpoint, but also from the driver's seat. And that's why these guys are moving around, trying to find some more grip, trying to find a spot where they can maybe pick up some time. But right now, it looks like the top 5's kind of settled in, you know, pretty nose to tail, but then look how far it is back to 6th place with Jacob Locklear. The guys that are on the old tires. That is a big gap, and unless we get some sort of caution here, those guys are going to have absolutely no chance to compete for the race win. But it is Dover. A lot could happen.
It is a whole straightaway back from 5th to 6th. We'll see it right here. Hang out on board the backside of the 44 Philip Brewer. There is Jacob Locklear just exiting turn number 2 as Brewer is entering 3. So a lot of distance that the top 5 has put on the rest of the field, having to work their way through some of the lap traffic. But it gives them plenty of room to work whenever you don't have to worry about another car making up a big gap like that in a hurry when you're trying to make your way around the slower car.
Yeah, and now it's pretty much just 2 races, at least right now. You have the top 5 battling each other, and then 6th on back, they're all battling each other. So the lead is long gone. These guys are just trying to get as far up the running order as they can, hopefully catch a caution so that they can get back in it. But, you know, the guys up front here, like the leader of Holland and Floyd and Cook, these guys, they want this thing to go green, because then they know it's just a race between them and them only. So far, it looks like this is the correct strategy.
Well, we've got a top-down view on the sim rig in the Cooper household. Might as well go with the top-down view from our Goodyear blimp. But you can see the type of line that the 2 is going for here. A little bit of a diamond shape. Dip it down early on the entrance. You want to peek up to about that 2nd lane, midway through the corner, back down to the apron on exit, get a good drive off. The consistency is going to be key as Philip Brewer right behind makes up some decent ground there on Bradley Cooper. We'll do an onboard here this time by. So that time hugging that lane and a half section up from the apron. Looking to do about the same here this time. Just up over that first seam on the bottom of the racetrack. Got to find that extra grip as the bottom gets rubbered up so easily. It'll make that rear end just slide out from behind you.
Dover is really one of those tracks that I believe requires the most focus when you're behind the wheel. I mean, all around this place. I mean, the corners are so long that you're in the corner, you know, longer than you are on the straightaway, really. And, you know, just to be able to hit your marks lap after lap and, you know, setting your car up in the corner and then driving it back down, it's really a rhythm-based track, and you can really get in a groove. And some guys are really good at this. You know, I've never been one that's been great at it, but we have guys in our league like Adam Cabot, who's just, you know, probably one of the best in iRacing at this place. Just, you know, some guys get it and some guys don't. And right now it looks like Holland and Floyd, they're kind of driving away now from Cook. Looks like they may have found a rhythm. So these other guys like Cooper, Brewer, they've kind of been stagnant right there. They're not really losing a lot of time, but they're just kind of staying right about where they are relative. And are these cars, oh, I thought these cars were getting lapped for a second here. Switching the camera on me there, I kind of got confused a little bit, but I was like, no way these guys are getting lapped just yet.
Apologize for that. No, I just saw a good battle here forming up between Trask and Mahalski. Trask got pretty sideways there last time by. Mahalski's going to bring it down pit road, so our first green flag stop of the night coming out of the 03. He'll be followed up here by, I believe that was Caleb Weekly. Max Cost right behind Weekly. So a couple takers for a green flag stop here. That is a 60-lap run for all three drivers, so looking to split it right down the middle, it seems.
And I bet these guys are super excited to get on pit lane just to not only get tires, but also just get a break. I mean, we're in the middle of a pretty long green flag run at the moment, and Dover can take a toll on you. So just to get into your pit box and have that, 12, 13 second break, that can kind of help you mentally reset and get ready for the second half of this race. But I feel like these guys might be in a tough spot. I mean, I don't know how many laps they can go on fuel. I was thinking it was around 50, and if that is the case, they can't make it from here. It would be really close, but I don't think they could. So this could be really big trouble for these guys if they can't make it from here.
Well, hopping on board here with one of our takers for a green flag pit stop, that's Caleb Weekly in the 13. Let's hang out here and see how these fresh tires start to handle immediately off the rip. There goes the 15 of Hodges up high on the track. That'll be easy work for Caleb Weekly. Some contact just ahead with the wall for Brodzik Voklovic. And to the outside goes Weekly. With ease, might I add.
Yeah, really seeing the strength of the tires, and looks like Caleb's trying to adjust something there on the live cam. I don't know if I want to be doing that trying to drive Dover, but I guess credit to him. I probably would have crashed had I done something like that. But you obviously see how much quicker he is than everybody else, that's not on the tires. And that's just how much tires mean here at Dover. It looks like that 13 is a rocket ship, and I thought he was going to maybe split it 3 wide. I think he thought about it, but I guess he's going to figure it's maybe not worth the risk at this point in the race.
Not at this point. Maybe later, once we see that triple-digit lap count here in about 45 laps or so. 35, rather. That's always been a big joke. Us V-Speed broadcasters never good at doing the quick mental math. At least it is between myself and the number 2, Cooper.
Hey, we've all been there. No judging from here.
But back up towards the front here. No Mahalski. He's getting around the 44 of Philip Brewer. Mahalski has taken fresh tires about 4 laps ago, sitting 15th right now, trying to get one of his 2 laps back. As our top looks like 7. Oh man, our entire top 14 right now have not pit yet on this new cycle.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I think the guys, that took the tires around lap 20 or so, they're really trying to go 50 laps here, from their run. So I feel like we're getting close to pit stops here. I think you're seeing some guys just coming off pit lane. I think Justin Carey, he might have been one of those drivers that was on the alternate tire strategy, though, I believe, or the one that did not take tires. But I feel like the guys that did take tires, I feel like we're going to see them hit pit lane here probably within the next 5 laps or so.
You'd certainly imagine so. It's they've shown that they can go the same amount of time roughly that they would have to go to the end if it stays green. Oh, and looked like nearly contact coming from behind the 21 of Richie. Got all over the back bumper there, the 31 Matt Shanoski. Shanoski high up on the track now. And that was a close one there. Richie, or Carey, we're sorry. Those Justin names, man, they get me every time. Justin Carey in the 21 on fresh tires compared to the 31 of Shanoski. That was a big, big difference there on the run that they got into the corner. Nearly resulted in some damaged race cars.
Yeah, and you can tell that these cars are not handling good right now. So these guys are trying to stretch it as long as they can. But, I mean, if you're on old tires relative to everybody else at this point in the race, it is not a good feeling at all. So some of these guys are going to have no choice here to bring it down. You can really see the speed of the drivers that got the tires right now. And they're making up a lot of time.
Richard Holland still in control of the race, but Dakota Floyd has made his way back up here to the second spot. There goes the 79 of Trask. He's around the outside on some fresh Goodyear tires. Full tank of Sunoco fuel. Makes it look easy, although these guys are leading the race. Holland with, I would have to guess, about 35, 40 laps now under control. Inside goes Weekly.
He's going to sneak on through as well, and that's just to put these guys one lap down. So they lost 2 in the pit cycle because of how slow pit lane is here. It's 35 miles per hour, which, you know, in the driver's seat of the race car, 35 just feels absolutely terribly slow. It is kind of hard to keep it right there at 35. You just naturally want to go faster and feel like you can go faster, but yeah, that's one thing that's kind of unique about this racetrack is the ultra slow pit lane. And under cautions, or under green rather, when you get those green flag pit stops, you're not going to lose just 1 lap, you are going to lose 2. So that means if a caution falls in the middle of that cycle, man, it can really jumble this race up.
It most certainly could, but so far so good. Got about 53 laps of green flag racing now. Didn't catch the number there. I think that was the 84. Yes, Jacob Locklear now bringing it down pit road. Oh, the 07 of Aklavik goes for it, but he misses the entrance by a mile. Good recovery from the 07. Keep it straight, Roderick. Oh, the 86 of Sanu tags the wall and comes down the racetrack. Aklavik will have to go back around and try that pit entrance one more time. A fantastic save, though, to keep it out of the barrels and out of the racing surface.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that I failed to do a couple of times. So smarter decision by him to know that he wasn't going to make it, so just go out and go around another lap instead of destroy your race car. So although he did miss the entry, just good heads-up driving by him to not destroy his car and, you know, keep himself still in this race. Although that is going to lose a lot of time. He's going to fall back quite a bit because of that.
Right now, our top 6 have yet to come down. Keith Shoemaker being the last one in that line. The 88 on 54 laps, as well as everybody ahead of him. Now Shoemaker brings it down pit road. Will he make the speed? Yes, gets it locked up just in time to meet that 35 mile an hour requirement. Matt Shinosky just ahead has brought it down. Morgan Cook still out here turning laps. To Cooper just ahead by a little over a second ahead of the 51. Let's look off the back bumper of Morgan Cook. Rob Hamp is charging. Look at that closure rate just coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, and get to the corner here, and he's going to basically blow on right by him here, especially corner exit. You would think he's going to probably go for the kind of the crossover, get a big run down the front straightaway here, and on through goes Rob Hamp. But while all this was going on and looking at the pit sequence, looks like our lead has changed hands again. So Dakota Floyd back out in front. Looks like Holland and Floyd have kind of been exchanging the lead a little bit back and forth this run. So, but right now it's Dakota that's at the point here at Dover, and I'm kind of surprised that these guys are going as long as they have. I would have figured that we would have seen them hit pit lane, but I guess if they have the fuel cell to go farther, you might as well. They already had, you know, a 6+ second lead on everybody else that had stayed out the first run, so they can afford to stay out here and lose a little bit of extra time because they're just going to have an even bigger tire advantage when they come out a pit lane for the final run, and that's when you want the freshest tires is for that final run.
And one of our leaders finally brings it down here. This is 17 of Richard Holland. It's going to leave Dakota Floyd, Bradley Cooper, Morgan Cook 1, 2, and 3. See which one of them brings it down pit road first. Bradley Cooper, a lot of distance and a lap car between. Let's go back up here to the 57, see if he thinks about bringing it down. No, he's going to go one more time around. It looked like Cooper in the background might have been setting up to bring it down pit road. No, he's going to go one more time around as well. So it's 60 laps starting now for the 57, the 2, and the 51. You know, it's one of those things, too, if you think about it, a little less fuel could save you a little bit of time, but if you're taking 4 tires, you're in the box for 14 seconds, no matter what. Dakota Floyd's going to bring it down now. So that's going to give Bradley Cooper the lead momentarily. He'll collect a bonus point on the night. likely see the 2 bring it down this time by the 51. Will he follow, or will he try to get a bonus point on the night as well? Oh, contact behind. Shanoski comes across the nose. Good job recollecting that. There goes Cooper down pit road. Morgan Cook now is going to collect a lap lead.
Yeah, and that could have been a disaster. I mean, look at the field right now. Everybody that's third on back is a lap down currently, so that really would have threw a wrench in some things. And a lot of these guys are still 2 laps down, so I think the whole field kind of caught a break by that not being an incident. But Morgan Cook will stay out that lap, and he is going to collect a bonus point. Looks like he's probably maybe thinking about bringing it down. Not this time. Going to go around maybe one more.
Not yet for the 51. Looks like Bradley Cooper just now reaching his pit stall. So everybody except for Morgan Cook now 1 lap down. Noah Mahalski, he's back up to that 2nd place position after this pit cycle here. When will Morgan Cook see pit lane? And it won't be this time by. Looks like Cook may be on the strategy of holding out to see if a caution does come out after all.
It's not a bad strategy. I mean, it very well could happen. And, you know, if it does, I mean, he is the only car on the lead lap right now. So he would be able to pit, take tires, and would have no risk of losing the lead, because all these guys who are a lap down would have to take the wave around and start at the tail end of the field. So I think his fuel tank is probably getting low here. I don't know how many more laps he can go, but it seems like he's just planning on running that thing out.
It sure seems like it right now. And, you know, one thing to think about, too, is how many other drivers are going to have to bring it down pit road with him? There's some that are already out here for 25 laps or so.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, if you haven't pit yet, I mean, you're committed to that strategy of running that fuel tank out. And it can work. You're going to have a very short run to the end. I just don't know if there's enough laps for him to make up that time, you know, if Cook continues to stay out. But maybe this is kind of a Hail Mary. Maybe he thinks that this might be his only shot at winning the race with how hard it is to pass up there. Obviously, he was racing up in that top 5 group, but sometimes you got to get a little bit off sequence, and, you know, sometimes it can net you a win, or sometimes it can result in a bad finish, and he's willing to take the risk.
Let's hop on board now with the 64 of Ben Laughter. One more driver here that's got a driver cam on the night. Take a couple laps around here with him as he's got some clean air on the nose.
And a fresh new paint scheme to go with that as well. So a very good looking paint scheme, and affiliated with a new racing team, Arctic Sim Racing. And he's got that on his car and came up with this design on his own, I do believe. And Ben Laughter, one of those guys who's always streaming, and he makes YouTube videos, so check his channel out on YouTube if you haven't already. Sometimes I'll see them pop up in my YouTube feed, and I'll watch a race back with Ben and kind of see how he does, you know, his strategy and how he approaches the race, and it's always fun to watch. He does such a great job and creates quality content, I can say that much.
Right there on the back of that race car on the trunk lid. YouTube, Ben Laughter. Go check him out.
It looks like Morgan Cook has now completed his pit stop. He is down and away. That hands the lead off to Noah Mahalski in the 03. And these are the drivers that, you know, had to short pit. These guys pit, I believe it was right around lap 60, somewhere around there. So these guys, their tires are 30 laps old. And you can see that they're quite a ways ahead of the guys that went long, but I don't think it will be too long before we see those front runners kind of surge back up towards the front. What these guys want right now, that this has cycled through, they want a caution so they can get on the same tire strategy as them. That would be the biggest win for these guys, but it'll be fun to watch those other guys that got the tires, to see them kind of dice through the field here, because they're going to be on a lot fresher tires and becoming a lot faster.
So we have, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers in the top 10. Justin Carey just fell out of the top 10, but 6 drivers around the top 10 that are on that at least 25 lap old tire strategy. So a lot of room for these drivers behind that are fresh out of the pits to make it back up here. And the tire fall off being very, very heavy here at Dover. It'll only be a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Philip Brewer now taking up that second spot all over the back bumper of Noah Mahalski now. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I was saying the 17 of Holland, he is trying to get through this traffic quickly. So he short pit a little bit, the 57 to Dakota Floyd. So he needs to make really quick work of these guys. He doesn't want to be held up whatsoever, because that will kind of erase the advantage he had created for himself that he had over the other guys. And so it's tough to pass, though. He's trying to get around these guys, but they're not making it easy on him.
So he's got the advantage here over the 44, Philip Brewer. To the inside he goes of the 03. Let's get back to one of our track cameras here. And he's going to complete that pass with no struggles at all. Richard Holland back to the lead now. What a fantastic move. 2 for 1 down the back stretch.
He did lose some time, though, to Dakota Floyd, who is the next car that's on the fresh tire. So now he's got to make quick work of these two guys, but when they're side by side like that can be tough. So look for Dakota Floyd to maybe send it on through the inside here. And you can see, the corner speed. There's nothing that Philip Brewer can do about Dakota Floyd driving on through. And he's not that far back now from Holland, and he's got a few laps fresher tires as well. So if he can catch Holland, he would have the advantage. Just going to be a little bit tough to make the pass, especially here in the late goings of this race. These guys are going to be pushing their cars to the absolute max.
You say, Jeff, we got one more driver to visit on our driver cam, and it's none other than the Rob Simrig himself. One of the coolest sim rigs that you'll ever see. Full motion. As you can see how bumpy this track really is. Just keep an eye there on that bottom right. It doesn't look like it when we're on top of the car, but you can see Rob just getting jostled around lap after lap. You have to imagine that he'd be sore after a race like this.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm kind of curious what that sim rig looked like when he got involved in that accident where he got clipped and hit the inside wall. I'm sure that didn't feel good. But yeah, you can kind of see as he drives off into the corner, he kind of gets thrown to, the front of the car a little bit. And then as he drives down and then kind of drives up, you kind of see him get pulled back in the seat. So it's really cool what that motion sim rig can do. And obviously Rob, sponsor of RSR Driver Cam, we appreciate him providing these shots all season long, not only for Challenger Series, but also for our Cup Series, which we also pay out $10 to the highest finishing driver with a driver cam. I think I forgot to mention that last time. You do have to have a driver cam, and the highest finishing driver with the least amount of incidents gets paid out $10 every single week. And that's courtesy of Rob Denton there, sponsoring the RSR Driver Cam.
One of these days, we're going to have to figure out how to turn that camera upside down. Being from Australia, it's only fair. But a battle now here between Jordan Trask and Christopher Hodges. Hodges on the inside. You've got the 25 just behind Matt Dominique. He's on some fresh tires here as well, but 3 laps down for Dominique right now. Looks to the inside of both of them. It's 3 wide, nearly down the back stretch. Hodges keeps the 25 at bay, but he's going to get the advantage over Trask. Hodges up to the 7th position, gets clear of the 79 through 3 and 4.
A new paint scheme on that 25 as well. That's one I hadn't seen yet this season. So wonder if he's still got the Twitch handle or YouTube handle on the back, but I believe it's Matty Doom. So if you want to watch live or join the stream, I believe you can find it there. But that's a good looking paint scheme with the different colors going on there and the way the light reflects off of it. That's one good looking race car.
That it is. Yeah, there it is on the backside. Matty X Doom. Looks like Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and maybe YouTube as well for Matt Dominique. Trying to battle his way back up from a couple laps down. Sits 3 down at the moment. Jeremy Reed ahead of him, also 3 laps down. Keith Shoemaker in the 88, 1 lap down. 19 on the lead lap. Not a whole lot of movement right now, but it looks like Dakota Floyd's setting up for a move to the inside now on Richard Holland. Holland through that middle section up turns 3 and 4. 57 gets clear on the exit of 4, makes it look easy. John Sanu right behind, getting extremely loose off the corner. But Jeff, we're within 15 laps to go now. The 99 of
Wallace.
Brandon Wallace up into the wall.
Yeah, Wallace is in the fence there hard. See if he can maybe limp. That thing is broken. He's got to try to get down the racetrack now. That is not good. This very well could be a caution that a lot of these guys were hoping for. But, I mean, if you're Dakota Floyd right now, last thing you want to see is a caution. But that looks like something is broken on that car. It's kind of... I can't believe he's still making laps with that right now.
Wallace has been turning laps with that heavily damaged of a car for about 60 laps already. It has been incredible that he's been able to keep it on the racetrack as well as he's had. But back up towards the front, Bradley Cooper gets the inside of Philip Brewer. He's going to be back up here into a podium position with just 14 laps to go.
Yeah, and how about the drive from Bradley Cooper tonight? Started fourth. He was running fourth, but now he moves himself up into the third position. What a great drive for Mr. Cooper tonight. And, you know, we always talk about all the great work he does in the V-Speed booth, providing coverage for so many different leagues. But, man, we're seeing this guy's skills shine here as a sim racer as well tonight. He is wheeling that race car. And I'll tell you what, it is not easy to get a top 3 at Dover or top 3, let alone in this series. So, big props to Bradley Cooper tonight for an awesome run. He's had the strategy right all race. Maybe not quite the pace to run with the guys like Dakota Floyd and Holland, but still, nonetheless, just an absolute great race, well put together here by Bradley Cooper in that 2 car.
Certainly is, and as a team driver with Bradley Cooper, I am also very happy, trying not to show any sort of bias there, but maybe towards the end of this, we'll have an interview with the driver of the 2, Morgan Cook. He gets around the 03 of Noah Mahalski. Mahalski now on 48 lap old tires, still up 20 positions, so you're looking extremely good for that pick, as Judson Curtis has been out for over 100 laps of this race now. I think it's safe to say that you're winning that bet there, Jeff. Oh, Mahalski into the wall, coming across the start-finish line, though.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, if you can keep this thing in one piece and get it to the finish line, this would be a great finish for Noah too, despite where he started. I mean, or considering where he started. It's not easy to pass cars at Dover, and especially not if you're starting at the very tail end of the field. So great job by Noah Mahalski to make something out of this race, because a lot of times if you qualify back there, you feel like your race is over before it even started, but there's no quit in him tonight. Up there running in the 6th position, trying to hang on for that spot. I know some fresher tires might be coming up behind him, but still all-around great race here for the 03.
31 of Matt Shanoski. He's looking to make it up to the 11th position here. He's been closing that gap on the 84 of Jacob Locklear. Right behind is the 93 of Rob Denton. Denton not on the same lap here as Shanoski. We'll see how he handles to get around the 31 and the 84. Oh, big time loose just behind for the 21 of Carey. Inside 10 to go. This is the worst time to see that forbidden colored flag come out. We're not even going to say the word. We're not going to risk it here, Jeff.
Hey, I'm cool with that. Especially at Dover. I mean, things can get so messy here if that were to happen. So, yeah, ideally, you'd like to see this thing finish under green. I know the 57 of Dakota Floyd, that's what he is hoping for right now. But looking all around this racetrack, there is some ill-handling race cars, to say the least. I'm seeing a lot of guys sliding, a lot of guys trying to catch the car, and a lot of guys just trying to keep this car straight and limp it home here the last 5-6 laps.
Rob Denton gets up to a top 15 position around the 13 of Caleb Weekly. Got a 5-lap difference between the tires of those 2 drivers. Weekly off the pace now from what Hamp is able to put down. And the 07 of Broderick Voklovic behind. See if we can find another close battle on the track. Looks like it is the 15 of Christopher Hodges once more, trying to catch up to the 55, Justin Ritchie. Jordan Trask lurking in wait. See if he can get his way back up here to a better finishing position. Still inside the top 10, but down 7 from where he started the race on that front row.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys just, they didn't have the strategy go their way tonight. And that'll happen from time to time. We saw a lot of these cars, running up front inside the top 3, but depending on the way the race goes, after you pick a certain strategy, and if it doesn't go your way, then, you're kind of at a deficit the whole rest of the race. And it's kind of what happened to these guys, but up at the front, looks like Dakota Floyd is checking out. We're inside, or grabbing the inside 5 to go here. and he is smooth sailing right now. No real pressure from behind. Holland has kind of slipped a good second on back, but Bradley Cooper still hanging on strong there in third. And I feel like that fourth spot might still be up for grabs. I know Cook, he elected to go with that really big overcut. So that's, a decent amount of time to try to make up, but the tire advantage he has, he might be able to do it.
It'll be very, very close, and it looks like we've got a meatball on the track now. That's the 13 of Caleb Weekly. Don't know where he's picked up his damage. It looks like a relatively clean car, but he does indeed have a black flag. See how that affects his finishing position on the race. I don't see a lick of damage.
I don't know. It looks like if he's showing a meatball flag, the one thing that I could think of would be maybe a blown right front tire. But I feel like if that was the case, I feel like that car would not be steering as well as it is. But it's certainly off the pace. Something's broken on that race car.
Here comes the 2 of Bradley Cooper, third place. He's going to look to get around the 13 of Weekly as clean as possible. Gives plenty of room here. Sends it deep into the corner. Makes that diamond shape here. Weekly keeps it high up on the outside. Richard Holland has closed that gap now as the white flag is out. Everything is official from here. Dakota Floyd just has two more corners to go. To the inside now of Carey. The 57 through 3 and 4. Floyd sees the checkered flag right about here, and the celebration can begin as Richard Holland has no chance to catch back up, and Dakota Floyd will take home the win at Dover.
What a statement win, too, for Dakota. This is win number 3 on the season for him, really putting himself as the championship favorite.
That was a tight battle back here for that 8th, 9th, and 10th position. Jordan Trask gets the best of Christopher Hodges on the exit of turn number 4. Trask ends up getting that 8th position. Wow, what a good hard battle right there in the middle of the field.
Absolutely, and that's what Dover does. It puts on great battles all around this racetrack as Dakota Floyd burns it down here on the front straightaway at Dover Motor Speedway. His 3rd win of the season after getting wins at Atlanta earlier this season, and then at Sonoma on the road course he was able to get it done. Tonight he gets it done at Dover for win number 3 and really solidifying himself as the championship favorite as we get closer to the playoffs.
Setting himself up very, very well, but the playoff format has a big impact. It can still be lost with no matter how many bonus points you have. As Dakota Floyd will take the Polish lap around Dover here tonight. We're going to send it to a quick commercial break, then we'll be right back with our post-race coverage and interviews with our top 3 finishers, Dakota Floyd, Richard Holland, and V-Speed's very own Bradley Cooper. Stick around, we'll be right back.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today. Or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
And we're back here live from Dover. It's been a fantastic race here tonight. Jeff Wright, quick thoughts on what we saw here from our drivers.
Well, I think we saw a relatively clean race for what Dover can be tonight, and that's just big props to everybody in this field. Dover is a difficult racetrack, one of the most difficult ones that we have on the NASCAR schedule. So, yeah, hats off to everybody, but I think we saw the best cars kind of rise to the top. The guys that have really good long run speed, and we're not surprised to see them. Guys like Dakota Floyd finish up here. Same thing with Holland. He won at Texas this season. So, but also some split strategy too that didn't go the way a lot of guys needed it to go. So, it was an interesting race to say the least. And I think for a race at Dover, you can't be too disappointed with the fact that we didn't have 10 plus cautions. I think I'll take a clean race like we had tonight.
Absolutely clean and green. Only 2 cautions on the night, but 10 total lead changes. Dakota Floyd being the last and final one, set the pole on the night, comes away with his 3rd win of the season. Richard Holland finishes out here in a podium position, taking the 17 to 2nd place. Bradley Cooper in the number 2 will take up that last podium spot in 3rd. Philip Brewer with a great drive all night long finds the 44 up 3 positions to the 4th finishing spot. Morgan Cook does 4 positions gained on the night. The 51 finishes 5th. Noah Mahalski, Jeff Wright, you made the perfect call on the hard charger of the night. 20 positions gained for the 03, taking home that 6th spot on the night. Justin Ritchie, Jordan Trask, Christopher Hodges, and Stephen Davis will round out your top 10.
In the 11th spot, it will be Jacob Locklear. Right where he started is where he finishes tonight. Matt Shinosky, Austin Belke, both up 2 spots tonight. Rob Hamp Shinosky up 1, Belke up 2, and Rob Hamp up 2. Vaklovic finishes in the 15th spot, up a handful of spots. Justin Carey's strategy didn't really go his way tonight. And I think I jinxed him a little bit, Logan. I was talking about his consistency with the top 10s and everything. He didn't have the strategy go his way tonight either. As for Caleb Weekly, same thing there. Max Cost in 18th, Ben Laughter 19th, Keith Shoemaker in the 88 machine up 4 spots tonight. He gets 20th.
And the rest of our field, we've got Jeremy Reed. The 94 takes home 21st, followed up by the 25 and Matt Dominique. Brandon Wallace manages to get a broken race car all the way around the track, finishing only 9 laps down in the 99, taking home 23rd. Rob Denton in the 93, 13 laps down, will take 24th. John Sanu will be 18 laps down with the 86 and 25th. Greg Spiker does not finish the race here tonight, 90 laps down for the 10 and 26th. Chris Rude and Judson Curtis both out very, very early in the race, finishing 27th and 28th. Well, we've got some drivers to get some interviews with here. It's only fitting to start with our 3rd place and V-Speed's very own Bradley Cooper. We'll get him up here in the booth. Bradley Cooper, you got Jeff and Logan up here in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Oh, I got you, boys.
Well, you've done the best finish here for the V-Speed team-driven car. Big props to you. Also picking up a bonus point there for that lap led. Started out 4th here tonight. You saw the lead, finished out here in 3rd. Tell me about your drive. How was that long green flag run treating that number 2 car?
First off, it was surprising. I figured we'd have a caution somewhere in the midst of that 100 laps that we just ran. It felt good. It felt clean. There was a lot of lap traffic and things that I you saw it. I think everybody saw it, but it's impossible to pass here at Dover. So you almost have to have a tire advantage if you want to get to the inside of somebody and actually clear them off the corner.
Tire advantage being on display throughout the entire field. Really, we had multiple strategies out here tonight. Looks like our top three just under that 40 lap mark, and we've got a couple drivers here behind about that mid 40, 50, some even at 60. Mahalski finishing with 59 laps on the last set of tires, split the race perfectly in the middle for the 03. Now, whenever it came to that first caution, I don't believe you came down, but you did come down for the second caution. How big of an advantage do you think that was overall going through the rest of the race?
Well, initially it was a disadvantage, right? We put ourselves in some weird track position. We got behind the top 10, but when you're talking about 20 lap fresher tires, you pass guys like they're sitting still. And it's kind of like what we saw at the later stage of this race where guys were spread out and you're passing them one at a time, lap down or not, you're just mowing through the field. It's just picking those times, trying to back your corner entry up, find the right place at the right time to get around them. And sometimes tonight you got it right. Other times you're really frustrated or, there was things beyond your control. One thing that I will go back and say is the top 10 was more cordial than the lap cars tonight when it came to letting guys by. I got past Brewer, Mahalski. Those guys just let me go. But then there was other times I'm behind 17th place, and I was getting a little frustrated at times.
Certainly could cause some frustration, but you handled it well, taking home a third place position. Bradley Cooper, is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to for making it to the podium here tonight?
You, first of all, Logan Threlkeld for covering and letting me get out here on the racetrack. Jeff Wright coming up here and co-hosting. He's done a fantastic job. Everybody at SNR that puts this show on. Got to thank V-Speed and all the people that are a part of this. And then, Walking the Road Costumes, Clark Print Shop, 29 Graphics. I know I'm missing one here. Help me out, Jeff.
Got the camera on you right now with the logo,
RSR,
the RSR Driver Cam. There you go.
All right,
Can't forget that one.
Can't forget that one.
And of course,
there's so many
got to
people.
Mention Juicy Spider too with that amazing new intro video for V-Speed that we got to display here tonight. But Bradley, congratulations, man.
Top tier, man. I appreciate you guys, and hopefully next week at Chicagoland we get to do the same.
Sounds like a fantastic plan to me, especially the big bump in the points right now. Bradley Cooper, we'll see you after a while once you start that coverage for our next race. That'll be it for our third place finisher on the night. Jeff Wright, I believe you've caught up with Richard Holland now down here on the second step of the podium.
Yes, I have. I'm alongside Richard Holland in that 17 machine tonight. Led a lot of laps tonight here, Richard, but it seemed like maybe the tire deficit there at the end with Dakota Floyd going a little bit longer just seemed like there was really nothing you could do once he caught you.
Yeah, I kind of knew that was going to happen. I felt like we were playing that tire tag game there where, on that last stop and trying to see who was going to pit first, basically. And I really wanted to outlap him there so I could have the lap fresher tires, but I had to pit. I had to do something, and he had gotten back by me, and he'd done a better job of saving tires. So I figured I'd pit and try to take the tire advantage and see what happened. And I kind of got held up a little bit, passing some guys, not in the really lap cars, but just guys that were up front and battling and stuff. And I think he gained like a second on me right there. But no, it was a great race for us. We everything went pretty smooth and had a strategy there. Got messed up with the cautions, but still worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it seemed like, just like you mentioned, got held up a little bit there on your cycle kind of back towards the front. And we're actually riding right on board with you as all that was happening. And we could kind of see that time start to really drop between you and Dakota Floyd. Do you think if you were able to get around those cars a little bit sooner, maybe get the clean air and get that advantage, do you think that would have been enough to maybe, stop the hard charging Dakota Floyd? Or do you think that the tires, the way they were tonight, it was just, a matter of time before he was going to catch you and then pass you?
I think it was a matter of time. If I could have got by them guys cleanly and quickly and then got out front and where I could set my own pace and run my own lap, I could have probably saved a little tire myself. And then if I could have held him off until like inside of 5 to go, I'd have raced him a lot harder for the win, and who knows what would have happened. But it was what it was, and he was running me down really fast at that point. I'd used my tires up, and when he caught me, there was no sense of racing him. We were just going to wreck each other. So, but it was fun. I had a lot of fun here. I love this track. It's a great track, and the car was like sliding around, and it got really wore out, and it's a lot of fun to drive when it's like that. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
This is only your 4th start this season. We've only been able to have you a couple of times. I know it was probably schedule conflicting and that sort of thing, but after winning your first race at Texas, you had kind of a string of bad luck there with finishes outside the top 20. Obviously Dover tonight, competing for the win, just like you're up in the mix at Texas. Next week we go out to Chicagoland, another 1.5 miles. There's quite a bit of differences between Chicago and Texas, but both being that traditional kind of cookie cutter 1.5 miler. Is that a track you're going to make it to? And if you are, do you think you can maybe go out there and get your second win of the season?
I'm planning on making it next week. Yeah, I don't, as far as I know, I don't have anything conflicting with my schedule, so I should be there. Yeah, Chicagoland's a good track for me. I love racing there. I love 1.5 miles. I like Chicagoland, so I will definitely plan on at least running well there and hopefully go for a win.
All right, Richard. Well, before we let you go and send you off, is there anybody you'd like to thank or maybe give a shout out to?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting this show on. It's a lot of guys show up to this, and there's a lot of talent out here, and makes the racing a lot of fun. And it's a great show, a great program you guys do, and running these leagues and setting these things up is it's a lot of behind the scenes thing that people don't see, and they don't a lot of time to appreciate. But I've been around a long time and running a lot of leagues, and definitely appreciate the people that set these things up and do it for us to have a place to run. And this is a lot of competition, and like I said, a lot of fun racing. So I want to thank you guys and V-Speed for doing the broadcast. They do an absolute awesome job. I mean, I love watching their broadcast. It's just second to none, and we appreciate you guys. And I want to thank Coop for doing my paints and whatnot, and racing with me tonight. That was a good race with him. I haven't had a lot of time to race with him lately, so that was good. Appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate the kind words as always, Richard. Second place tonight, 1 spot short, but thank you for talking with us, and best of luck at Chicagoland next week.
Thanks a lot, guys.
So that was Richard Holland in the 17. Just comes up 1 spot short tonight, Logan, but you are down with the guy that wins tonight's race, a 3-time winner in the SNR Challenger Series. He gets it done at Dover. Logan is standing alongside in victory lane.
We've got the lone Toyota up here on the podium, the driver of the 57 Ray Briggs Supra. Dakota Floyd makes it number 3 on the season. Dakota, what was your key to success here tonight? Was it that long run where you got about 2 extra laps over Richard Holland there? Was the tire advantage really that much that puts you up ahead by about a second over second place?
Yeah, I definitely think it helped a lot. It gave me just enough of an advantage, and he got to racing some of those guys that were leading the race there at the time we were coming up, and I really closed the gap up on him there, and just kind of waited for the tires to flip that light switch. And I mean, he always races me super clean, so once I got to his inside, he kind of just let me get around him. So and then, like you said, that 2-tire advantage just helped me kind of walk away from into a comfortable lead, and was able to bring it home in one piece.
Now, I asked Jeff this mid-broadcast with his experience here at Dover. Now I'm going to ask you, it's kind of a 2-part question. Run me down on how effective the clean air was on the nose of your Toyota, and also how that track was affected by the rubber being laid down on the bottom line here. As we got 50, 60, 70 laps into the race, you could really see that definitive dark groove starting to form up. How was that Xfinity car driving out there tonight?
Clean air is definitely really, really helpful. I mean, once you were right behind somebody, it was noticeably tighter, especially on the exits of the corners. And if you could get out there, you could kind of drive the car a little easier, knowing that you didn't have to quite force it. And the guys behind you kind of had to drive in a little bit harder to kind of hope to get a pass, get a nose in there, kind of force you up the racetrack. So I definitely appreciated the clean air when I had it. It let me take care of the tires a lot easier. And the rubber buildup on the bottom, I noticed it was starting to come into effect that last run. You couldn't really wrap the line and be fast like you were at the beginning, so you definitely had to start working into a higher entry and diamonding the exits to kind of lean off of the right front a little bit and take care of the tires a little better.
Well, fantastic race here tonight. Do you think you can carry this momentum into Chicagoland next week?
I definitely think so. I've had really good races there. I don't think I've quite ever pulled a win there yet, so maybe next week will be the one, but I expect to at least have a really decent finish there.
Well, Dakota, again, great job tonight. Is there anybody that you'd like to say thanks to for putting the number 57 on the top step?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank the team first and foremost. Everyone had a pretty good race, except for Johnny got caught up in that one yellow that we had, so it's really unfortunate for him. I know he's got a lot of speed running this racetrack, so I know he was looking for a really fun race tonight. He likes this place, so but good on him for finishing it out. He's always a trooper. So, but everybody else had a really good finish tonight, and shout out to the league. Everyone ran really clean. I know sometimes it could be a little hard to let lead lap cars go, so but everybody raced me super clean, and can't ask for much more than that. Thanks to the admins for always doing a great job. They always make the best calls that they can with the situation they have on hand. So, and thank you guys in the broadcast booth. Always have a blast watching these back, and thank you to everyone that watches.
Well, fantastic. Once more, I know I've said it 3 or 4 times already, but we'll end it off one more time. Great race, Dakota. We'll see you here in a little bit in the Cup Series.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful night.
Well, that concludes our interviews here with our top 3 finishers. Jeff, is there anything that you'd like to add here about the race tonight before we go into what we see happen in the Cup race?
I just think that all these competitors here tonight, they got to be worried about this 57. This is his 3rd win of the season so far, already tallying up 9 bonus points before we get to the chase. And we got a handful of tracks left. You know, he could very well click off some more, but I think this could spell trouble for the rest of the field. I think Dakota has really solidified himself as the championship favorite in this series, looking to go back to back. So that could be something to talk about if he could win season 1 and season 2. But just all around, great race, a clean race. You heard the guys talk a little bit about the lap traffic, but, you know, everybody's out there just trying to get all they can, so you can't fault them too much. And then I just got to cap it off with another tip of my hat to Bradley Cooper with that top 3 run tonight. He does so much for our league, but also, you know, everybody at V-Speed with all of the work that you guys do, Logan. And I just can't help but be happy for him to see him have a great run. He certainly deserves to be out there on the racetrack with the amount of work he does in the booth. And you could definitely tell tonight, top 3 run for Bradley, that felt pretty good for him.
You're absolutely correct about that. But that concludes our coverage here tonight of the SNR Challenger Series at Dover. Stick around. In about 45 minutes, we'll be live once more with the SNR Cup Series. As for now, I've been Logan Threlkeld, and alongside Jeff Wright, as always, everybody behind the scenes here at SNR would like to say thank you. And everybody behind the scenes at V-Speed, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Eddie Smith, even Morgan Cook, who we saw on the track tonight. You all have a fantastic rest of your Saturday, and we will see you shortly for the SNR Cup Series.